shop here.
Ja, die Bibliothek.
Ja, toll.
Mhm.
Ja.
Guck mal, da kann man sich
Süß, da will ich auch sitzen.
Non-residential buildings in this neighborhood. One of our
Schatzi macht ein Foto, gell?
1800s
Ein kleines Bänkchen.
donated the money for this building to be built. So he was
Magst du auch?
Andrew Carnegie, who made all his money with steel, and he was a philanthropist. So he liked to donate money for the public good, and he decided to donate the funds to build this public library. At the time, there was no public library in Norfolk. You either had to have a private membership to be able to access books, or have friends with books.
Die Muschelchen.
It's not easy to get access to books for free.
Muschelschmuck ist süß, gell?
So this started off as a public library. Today it's privately owned by an insurance company who turned the top floor into residences. At one point on the basement, they started an art collection, which became the start of the collection over at the Chrysler Museum. So if you ever have a chance to visit our Chrysler Museum, even though it's a small museum, it's actually a very nicely curated place. We have a famous glass exhibit. Glass art is very popular here, and we have our own. Aw, little squirrel nest. Hi, baby squirrel. That's pretty cool.
damit kann
Ich sehe es nicht, aber irgendwo da ist ein Baby-Eichhörnchen.
So we have a migratory bird that nests
hab's
in
nicht
this
gesehen, aber-
neighborhood. It's called a heron.
Ein
It's
Baby.
a big water bird that eats fish.
Guck mal,
So certain times of year they'll build their nests in these trees. They always come back
Ja,
to
die
the same
gruseligen
tree every year. But if you
Dinger
live
da.
here, you know not to park under that nest. Otherwise, you'll just see a huge pile of bird droppings. So if you're unlucky enough to park under it, your car is covered in bird droppings.
gucken wieder die Skelette. Die Halloween-Skelette.
Oh, B-U-N-T-I-N-G.
T-I-N-G? Okay. Okay.
Here, this.
Und
Yeah,
Die haben
you'll
sogar
see it in a lot
Skelette
of
drin.
historic areas. It's a popular
Im
design.
Fenster und draußen. Gucken Sie.
ähnlich?
Similar.
Similar. Ja. Banner.
Okay, yes, yeah, banner. We usually use that for rectangle flags, yeah. So I'm pausing here, so not only can you see all the skeletons, because they're fun, but would anyone like to guess at when this building was created? Don't feel shy.
70, 80?
It looks like it, right? It looks similar to the library we just came from. This was only built 5 years ago in 2019.
Wow,
So
Das
it's an
ist aber noch neu.
example of how the neighborhood
2019.
is very particular about what they allow to be built here. It has to look historically appropriate. So it's a very long process to get approval to build, but then they're particular about every detail. So you'll notice it has the copper downspouts for the rainwater. And one thing that gives this home away as being brand new is that copper looks brand new, but the historic home on the next corner, all the copper is turned green from age.
Ja.
Ah,
Yeah.
aha. Das ist
The
interessant.
other
Das,
thing that
das
you'll
Kupfer
notice about
bei
this
den alten ist schon grün
neighborhood,
geworden.
very
Und da ist es noch neu.
unusual, and you don't see this anywhere else in the city, are these cobblestone streets. And they're only located here. They're, every other street is paved with normal
Historisch halt,
concrete.
ne?
So when, and I'm sure you have this all over Europe, but the ships, when they would travel to another port, they would take these stones for ballast. And then when they got to the port, they would unload the stones and then load the materials that they came for. So all of these cities ended up with these ballast stones, and they used them to make the roads. So we had these roads everywhere, but when they started making cars, the American system wanted everyone to buy a car and drive a car. And these are not fun to drive on. So they paved them over. And for a long time, you couldn't see the cobblestones. But then historic preservation became very popular in the 1970s. So the city decided to try to fix all of the roads, and they removed all of the pavement.
Oh.
But a lot of the stones had been damaged. So by repairing the roads, they had to consolidate a lot of the stones. So that's why we only have this one street. They weren't able to preserve the others. So, and this has been voted one of the most beautiful streets in America for many years now. So we're very proud of it. All right, follow me. We'll keep going this way.
Die schönste Straße ist die Freemason Street. Siehst du? Die aller schönste.
So we'll start passing a lot of the larger historic mansions, and you'll notice all this beautiful wrought iron. And all of the houses used to have these, but not so anymore.
Guck mal, der Brian Mason Owner. Ist
So this
das?
is one of the older homes in the neighborhood.
Okay, das ist ein älteres.
And again, you'll see the influence of the Greeks and Romans that, we wanted to copy. Thomas Jefferson really helped with this, but he, had gone over to France to study, so he brought back a lot of those ideas. So throughout Virginia, you'll see a lot of buildings that are modeled after the Greek and Roman architecture. But what's interesting about this house is up on the very, very top, it has a widow's walk, what they call crow's nest. So it's where you could have a vantage point of the river. You could see the ships coming in or out. So you knew if your husband's ship wasn't coming in that you'd become a widow. That's where it gets the name. But you can see the house is under restoration. This is a big business, so not only here, but you just saw Charleston. There are a lot of historic homes there. If you ever go to Savannah, Georgia, same thing. So if you're a craftsman and you know how to restore historic homes, you make good money.
Da ist wieder eins.
So I mentioned housing prices around here, what it costs to rent an apartment. But anyone like to venture a guess what it costs to own one of these historic mansions? That's a really good guess. Just less than that. Well, home prices have gone a little bit up since the pandemic, but just a few years ago, the house we just passed sold for about $2.25 million. So compared to other historic cities, Norfolk's still fairly affordable. But most families, even here, can't afford that. So some of these homes are too expensive for people to own and maintain. So what's happened is businesses have bought them. So you'll notice up ahead, lawyers have made some of these homes their offices.
Sind auch schön, ne? Wenn du schon so viel Geld bezahlen musst, nee, da kommen wir groß.
Yeah, so almost every house on this corner is now either lawyers or looks like realtors. Yeah, the businesses have more money to maintain the property. Okay, we'll keep walking this way. I'll start to pass this picture around, but this shows yet another historic home that used to be here no longer exists. It was demolished. But
Hier ist eins kaputt.
this beautiful Victorian home right next to it still exists. We can go into its garden, so just follow me. We'll walk into the garden.
Das steht da noch und das ist abgerissen.
Das ist weg, ja. Mhm.
Ja.
Möchten Sie auch sehen? Das steht noch rechts und das ist abgerissen. Und deswegen ist hier jetzt eine leere Fläche. Hunter Museum, Visitor Parking only. Jägermuseum oder was? Boah, da geht's ab. Das ist das Gruselhaus. Das riesige Gruselhaus. Welcome to my garden. Ach, wie süß. Hier wohnen auch viele Vögel.
So this house today is now a museum. So it's actually a house you can tour the inside of, and they've preserved it to look as it would have in the Victorian era. So the man who built this house made a lot of his money in banking, and his family is the only family to have ever lived here. They had 3 children, two girls and a boy, and none of them ever had their own children. So when the last daughter died, she left this estate in trust to be turned into a museum, and it's been maintained as that ever since. So you can come in here and do a tea party. They do craft fairs out here in the garden. This is one of the few properties that has this very nice large garden. So it's, yeah, we're lucky to have this as public space that we can all use. So one of the other interesting features of this house is the style that was built in. So you'll notice it has all these different types of stone plus the brick. And this was a very popular style for a short period in the United States. It's called Richardsonian Romanesque architecture. And really all that means is it's a combination of all of these different kinds of stone, and it vaguely resembles the Roman style of architecture. Alright, follow here. Someone thought it would be a good idea to bring them over from England, and they just bred out of control, and they displace a lot of birds from their nests. They'll push the eggs out. So they're actually kind of a nuisance. And we already have a lot of decline in our bird populations. We've lost about 1/3 of our birds over the past 50 years. Yeah. Oh, that's a magnolia. So we saw a few smaller versions of magnolia earlier. This one is almost as old as the house. So this is at least 100-year-old tree. Yeah, the house
Wow,
is
schon
built in
fast 100 Jahre alt.
1894.
Die Magnolie.
Oh, I think I saw a mourning dove too. Yeah, feel free to go take some pictures. You'll get the full Halloween experience.
Ach, der heißt Hunter. Zum Fotografieren muss ich weiter vor, sonst sehe ich nichts. Sonst blendet alles.
Yeah, you won't see a mermaid skeleton very often.
Die Gruselspinne. Da kann man sich sogar schon was mitnehmen, bevor es Saures gibt. Schatzi, willst du schon was Süßes? Nein, da ist wirklich was. Gesundheit. Da ist wirklich was Süßes zum Mitnehmen. Guck mal. Magst du amerikanische M&M's mitnehmen? Oder lieber Milky Way? Oder Hershey's? Kann man mitnehmen. Guck mal, die Fledermaus, die frisst gerade irgendwas. Eine Kakerlake. Ja, machen wir noch ein paar Bilder. Guck dir das an her. So ein riesen da ist eine Katze drin. Die ist aber nicht so gruselig, gell? Machen wir ein paar Fotos noch? Wenn du was haben willst. Warte, das probieren wir gleich auch mal aus. Wenn er wieder sich beruhigt hat.
Gleich passte.
Bestimmt ein Sensor.
Den Knopf, glaube ich.
Dann muss ich auch mal gucken, was ich nehme. Strawberry irgendwas. Ich nehme die Nerds. Nerds kennen die.
Einer ist ein Sensor. Wo denn?
Da ist bestimmt ein
An
Sensor.
der Kinderklappe.
So, und da ist jemand tot.
Das dachte aber komisch.
Oh, hier ist auch noch was. Habt ihr das gesehen?
So, jetzt sehe ich die Meerjungfrauen, das Meerjungfrauen-Skelett. Sogar die haben sie abgeschlachtet. Oh, hier ist, glaube ich, eine Katze oder sowas. Ein Katzenskelett. War mal eine. Oder Hund, weil es hat ein Halsband.
Kann auch sein.
Kann auch ein Hund sein. Ist aber auch gemein hier mit dem. Was das nicht kam. Ich nehme wieder so Nerds, weil da steht Candy drauf.
Geil.
Was die sich für die Mühe gemacht haben.
Das gibt's ja nicht, ey.
Komm, ich nehme dich auch auf. Der tut sich das Kiefer noch ausrenken. Der renkt sich seinen Kiefer gleich aus. So blöd. Und hier wackelt auch was. Wenn man.
About to leave the residential part, the historic part of the neighborhood, and we'll enter the business district. So please, again, watch the cars, make sure they stop for you, don't take any chances.
Also immer schön aufpassen. Immer aufpassen. Egal ob da Streifen sind.
So this is one of the older homes that survived. So built in 17, late 1700s.
Upsa. Muss immer gucken. Ja, echt.
So those who like flags, this is our state flag for Virginia. And you'll notice in Latin on the bottom it says Six Semper Tyrannis. Who knows their Latin? And you can probably guess from the picture on it, so it means death to tyrants.
Mhm.
But yes, so our state flag and obviously the American flag. Of course. So this is now a restaurant. If you have time, they have a very cool bar inside. It might remind you a little bit of bars back in Europe. And then you'll notice that the architecture on the house that we just came from is very similar, or same style of architecture on this building and on the church across the street. Okay. And we'll wait for the light and then we're crossing here.
Tower is a curious shape with little tower
Well, taller buildings, they couldn't hear the bells, so they added that 20 feet there. They added that to raise the bell tower higher.
Ah,
But I've never seen a tower with a lot of towers nearby, smaller towers
Yeah.
nearby.
Yeah, it's a very odd style of architecture. It was only popular for a very short time. It's almost a little Gothic.
hier ist sogar ein Parkhaus.
Wieder raus.